Start by saying happy holidays, one of the most joyful times of the year, especially if you got young kids around the house, which I do. Obviously, you got the wonder of the Christmas tree and lights and Santa Claus and the hope for new beginnings with this year, and obviously great news with the vaccine coming out, and just all the excitement about 2021 and getting back to what our sense of normalcy is. So hope everybody's excited about that in the holidays, and we're excited about an opportunity this week. Got a big game on the road in Stark Vegas. Can't wait to get down there. Face a very tough opponent. I think they're playing their best football right now. You really watch their progression throughout the year. You can tell that they're getting more and more comfortable in their scheme. Obviously, I think they found their quarterback, and he's doing an excellent job for them, knows exactly where the ball's supposed to go. Will Rogers got some dynamic wide receivers, specifically the true freshman. Gotta find his name right here. But he's having an outstanding year, and is probably Jaden Wally, leading wide receiver. And you can just tell that offensively they're hitting their stride. Defensively, I mean, an extremely difficult test for us. Their defensive coordinator was at San Diego State, does a tremendous job. Zach Arnett. They're a little bit unconventional as far as what they do defensively. A lot of movements, a lot of stunts and blitzes and pressures. Creates angles for their defensive guys to create penetration, gets you off your tracks. It's going to be a very difficult challenge, different than what we saw in the past couple of weeks. So really got to respond to that. Need a good week of practice. So looking forward to the challenge that this team presents. Looking for the challenge of going on the road. Each week there's a new adversity, new challenge that we're facing, and certainly that's the way it is this week with the injury report from last week and so on and so forth. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
First one's going to come from Ben Arnett from KOMU. Ben.
Coach, kind of going off of what you were just talking about, it's been a long year and the depth we've talked about a lot in recent weeks. What's the overall energy level heading into this last week from your team, do you feel?
Well, I think it's I hadn't seen them today, but Sunday was good. We're all disappointed with the loss. Felt like in the second half we didn't really play the way we wanted to or are capable of playing. But we're going to bounce back. We're going to have good energy. We want to finish. It's important for us to finish, and so we'll be fine.
Mitchell Forty from Power Mizzou. Mitch.
Eli, you mentioned already Mississippi State being a little bit unconventional on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, they throw a lot. What does that present? Any unique challenges to your all's defense? Anything, I guess, different than you've seen in weeks past, or can you pretty much stick with the same principles?
No, it's absolutely a challenge. Absolutely a challenge. It's a different type of challenge. The past couple of weeks we've really had a difficult time stopping the run and not being disciplined in our fits and not being able to pound gaps the way we need to. That's not really going to show up this week. They have the least runs or rush yardage or rush attempts in our conference. That's not a big part of what they do. They supplement their run scheme with tunnel screens, which helps them slow down the pass rush. So we're going to have to be different. And, we can't put in a new defensive scheme this week. We can't. I mean, that's just not possible. We have to go out there and make some tweaks to what we do and rush the passer, affect the quarterback, hold up in our coverages, and tackle in space. I think that's the theme that shows up a lot, is being able to tackle in space. They do a great job of getting the ball. I think the running backs are leading receiver on the team. They get the ball to their running backs in space, and if you miss tackles, it's a big game.
We'll go to Dave Matter from the St. Louis Post. Dave.
Eli, and obviously your offenses are very different, but do you have any history with Coach Leach as far as clinics or anything like that, or did his offense, his system influence you at all when you're kind of putting together your system?
No, only met Coach Leach one time. That was at the SEC head coaches meeting in February. I think that was when it was. But other than that, I've never interacted with him, and just admired him from afar. Obviously, has always been a man of principle, sticks to what he wants to do, and and has a proven track record of what he does offensively and what he's done as a head coach.
Gabe DeArmond from Power Mizzou. Gabe.
Yeah, Eli, I wonder, I understand you have a game to play before this, but if you've talked to your team at all and if your team is committed to playing a bowl game, if that opportunity presents itself. I know there are some teams and that requires a few more weeks from kids, and just kind of along those lines, can you speak to what these kids have sacrificed and how difficult this year has been on the players to make this season all come off and make it almost all the way through?
Yeah, we talked about it Sunday. I mean, it wasn't really a discussion. We just talked about our plans. We're going bowling. We're excited about going bowling. It's an awesome opportunity for our team to get a chance to continue this journey together and play another game. It's an awesome opportunity for Mizzou. We didn't get to go to a bowl game last year, and so for us to have that presence on national television, we're going to be in a great game because of the type of season we had. It's a reward. You know, bowl games are still a reward for the season that you had, and we're going to choose to, go for that and excited about it. Absolutely, this season has been difficult on our guys. It's been difficult on staffs, but it's a tribute to how much they, one, love this game, two, they love the brotherhood and the people in that locker room, and they love Mizzou. So all of those things work together. We're football players, and if you get another opportunity to play the game of football, we're absolutely going to take advantage of it. And really excited. I got a good feeling that we're going to get a big time bowl game, and so shoot, we'll be ready to roll. But we got another game before it. We got signing day before it. So one thing at a time, Gabe. Quit getting me so excited, man.
Next one's going to come from Eric Blum. Eric.
Eli, I know you're 24 hours out from signing day, and there's certain specifics you can't talk about when it comes to that, but 24 hours or so out from when you can sign kids, how you feeling about how tomorrow can go?
Well, I mean, there's always nerves. It's Flipmas season, as one coach says. So you always got to be worried about making sure that your guys are tucked in at home, safe, nice. Make sure you got conversation with the parents, make sure everything's good, and then you got to do your due diligence, poke around, make sure everybody else, good too. So, we feel pretty good about the number we're at, trying to close on one or two more. If we get them, great. And if we don't, then we'll have a couple of spots for the next February signing class, which for us, we made a lot of hay last year on that, so we'll see. But really excited. I know this class has been with us. They've gone through an unprecedented recruiting and think that they're going to be another piece, big piece to the puzzle of what we're trying to build here.
Mitchell.
Eli, Jalen Carley's got the start last week, and I think played the most snaps of any cornerback. He's, a guy who played receiver in high school. I guess, what is it about him that's enabled him to not only learn a new position, but, be someone you all rely on for that heavier role?
Man, that young man's got a tremendous smile, does everything we ask him to do when he walks into this building. He's a great competitor. I think his benefit of playing offense helps him understand routes and depths and break points. And we've asked him to do a lot of tough stuff. I mean, he was in the last drive against the South Carolina game. And obviously this past week played a ton versus, one of the best teams we've played all season, one of the top 10 teams in the country. And he held his own. So really excited about his future. He's a competitor. He's exactly what we're hunting here at Mizzou, and sure glad he's here.
Peter Baugh from The Athletic. Peter.
Hey, Eli, I wanted to give you a chance. I know you worked under Gus Malzahn, and obviously with the news this week, what did he just mean to you as a coach when you were kind of coming up through the ranks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed for Coach and Christy. Obviously, they mean a tremendous amount to me, me and my family, and obviously it wouldn't be here in my career if it wasn't for them and the opportunities they presented to me. And disappointed again. Everybody has a right to choose who they employ or not, but man, did a tremendous job. Won the SEC, played in the SEC championship twice, played in the national championship, won 67% of his games or something crazy like that. One of the only coaches in this league that's even gone toe to toe with Coach Saban and actually won. Just surprised. But I know he's used his influence in a positive way. I know he's got a bright future ahead of him in whatever he chooses to do. And yeah, so I don't know. I was surprised, stunned, really.
Dave Matter?
Eli, you touched on injuries. You have any updates for this week coming out of the Georgia game?
Yeah, Tyree Gillespie will be out this week. Michael Wilson will be out this week. Jalen Knox will be questionable this week. Pretty much the whole D-line will be questionable this week. Probably will be won't know until tomorrow whether or not they're ready. Kobe Whiteside, Markel Udsey, Trajan Jeffcoat, Chris Turner are all questionable as of right now. Ishburdine is out for this week. He'll be out after suffering an injury in the Georgia game. I want to say that's it, but there might be one more that I missed.
Andrew Kaufman, go ahead.
Coach, kind of going off of that, just, you've almost made it to 10 games in an SEC only schedule. Has it, looking back on it now, has it been tougher, easier, as expected? What do you think?
Sure as heck hadn't been easier. Tougher. Much tougher just because of the endurance test. Much tougher because of the I did not foresee the opt-outs, transfers. I didn't take into account what that would do to our roster. Obviously, I was really concerned of being down the 4 NCAA numbers in general. But then when you add in the opt-outs and the transfers and the different issues, we've played since South Carolina pretty much in the 50 scholarship numbers. So that's going to be the last 5 games of the season. And that's not precedented. I don't think that's how this sport's designed, especially at this level. So, our guys have shown a lot of fight, and courage, and heart, and our coaching staff showed a lot of resiliency to just try to figure out a way each week to put the best plan forward. And tip your hat to guys like Larry Roundtree and Case Cook and Michael Mayetti and Nick Bolton, Akil Byers. Those guys are playing Josh Bledsoe. Every snap and giving us everything they got. And they're playing a ton of snaps. And so I think it's taken its toll physically, and we got to be smart trying to figure out ways to get these guys back healthy so that they can play fast on Saturday. But it's been a war of wills. And I'll say this, our will's been pretty strong because, in some of these games, it could have gone one way or the other, and our will to win has shown up. And I think of the 5 victories, 4 of them were in doubt until the fourth quarter, and our guys have found a way to make that happen. So that's good. That's good. Now we got to keep on going.
Jack Sobel.
Eli, I touched on JC a bit before, but he and Ennis obviously getting a lot of playing time this season with Ennis, I think, starting every game. What can you say about their performance this year as true freshmen overall? And what does that mean for the future of your secondary that they're getting experience now?
Yeah, extremely bright. Anytime you have these guys, playing as true freshmen, there's going to be times where it's like, holy cow. All right. But you also know that the best teacher is experience, and they're going to continue to improve. And, we got the makings to have a really good defensive secondary with those 2 guys anchoring those positions, specifically in the type of scheme that we like to play, which is man-to-man coverage. Those guys have proven to be able to handle it. Have they gotten beat? Absolutely. But have they held their own too in a lot of situations? You bet. And so incredibly thankful that those guys are here. And again, they've shown up big when we've needed them.
Sean, if I could ask a quick follow-up. You said they've held their own in some situation. Can you name specific situations where you think they've done a really good job holding their own in difficult spots?
Yeah, the South Carolina game, specifically the last drive, but they both started that whole game. And, in the first half against, Georgia, those two guys did a nice job other than maybe one play. They held their own. And then obviously in Vanderbilt, we had a shutout. So, I think Ennis has played well in every game that he's, had to gone against. Again, we're going against some real dudes in this league, and he's matched up with them quite a bit.
Go ahead, Seren Petro.
Coach, the spread when it first came around, right, was the real change up to everybody's schedule to see it and have that kind of shock to your system. It's been around for a while now. Lots of teams run it. How has, it been kept fresh, right? For the average fan, you might look at it and just say, hey, all the wideouts are out there going. How has it freshened over the years from like the days back when Hal Mummy was kind of unleashing it on everybody to start things?
I think people have added tempo and different run games to it. I think that's the influence that Coach Malzahn brought to it. Was a downhill run, and then you had the evolution to RPOs. I think what makes what Coach Leach does is it's the purest form of the spread offense, meaning I don't believe that he has RPOs. He has, inside zone draw, shovel, tunnel screen, and then he runs about 4 or 5 concepts. He's grown with some motions and a couple of different formations than what I remember at, Texas Tech. But he's still committed to throwing the football and does it at a really high level.
Eric Blum, go ahead.
Eli, you mentioned earlier that maybe the entire defensive line is questionable. I know you've had Drake Heismeier maybe in practice. You mentioned him going over there in the past, or what are you trying to do to make sure that group stays solid so it can be productive on Saturday?
Well, Drake Heismeier played in the Georgia game, and so he's ready to go, and he'll practice with both the offensive line and the defensive line today and have to be ready to play in both situations just because of some injuries that occurred on the offensive side of the ball Saturday. We hope to get some guys back who were maybe on the contact tracing from last week that could provide some more depth. But there's not, I can't go to the waiver wire. So we got what we got. I don't know. He's doing double duty. It's fortunate that we're playing a heavy pass, because I don't think we could sit in the trenches this week with as beat up as we are.
Gabe?
Eli, I don't think we talked much about this after the game on Saturday. Can you just tell us what maybe you learned about your quarterback and his toughness? I mean, I think he was out for 2 plays after taking that shot, and what you saw out of him just coming back and fighting that whole game.
Yeah, apparently took a legal hit. I mean, that's the number one requirement of playing the position is toughness, right? And it's not just mental; it's physical, and it's part of the game. And there's gonna be times when you get hit. There's gonna be times where you got to still deliver the football. I mean, first half, maybe it was the third quarter, but there was an out route that he throws perfect ball. We get pass interfered on, and he takes a shot to the helmet that looked like they lowered the crown of the helmet. Anyway, I digress there. And that's the name of the game. There was no flag. You got to keep on rolling. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, there was several hits that you would have assumed that maybe a yellow flag falls out, but they didn't. And so he just keeps on rolling, and that's the requirement. It's happened several times throughout this season, and he does a really nice job. But that's, I think that's a tribute to his high school coach and the way he was played. He played in the triple option offense, so he's used to getting tackled and he's used to being hit. So, I think that's just showing his toughness.
Greg Palermo, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, just looking at the roster, what was the number that was submitted earlier this week? And as far as any other opt-outs, transfers, anything like that, just to button that up?
No, I haven't. We haven't had any opt-out or transfers this week. I mean, with the questionables and doubtfuls, who knows? I mean, it depends how you labeled that. We didn't have any COVID issues this week as of right now, but we took a test today and we got one more to go. But we're around 56. Yeah. So something like that.
Bennett Durando.
Eli, you said on Saturday that you guys lost that game in the trenches on both sides. When the offensive line struggles like that and you need a bounce back performance, how much do you turn to Larry Borum with the season that he's been having to sort of set that tone and be a role model on that O-line?
I mean, I think we all need to we all got to step up our game. And you know, that's an area that we struggled, but let's be real. I mean, we struggled in all facets of the game. I mean, we struggled on the perimeter getting off press coverage. We struggled being accurate with football. We struggled in blitz pickup. We struggled covering guys. So, you know, to say that that's where we lost, I think it's unfair to the trenches, to be real honest. You know, we look for the leaders of the entire team to bounce back. We need great energy from everybody to realize that we fell short of our ultimate goal and didn't perform the way we want to perform, specifically in the second half. I was quite proud of us in the first half. But yeah, I think Larry's got to be a big figure point in that. But we got great leaders, Michael May, Eddie Case Cook, and those guys really got to continue to step up. And again, this is going to be the most challenging front and defense that we've played all year, not necessarily because of the players, but the scheme. They've got really good players, but then their scheme is it makes you play ugly. I mean, it's going to be ugly. There's going to be penetration, and there's going to be, you know, guys that are just hanging through there. Fortunate thing for us is Larry Roundtree, you know, he runs really tough, and Beatty has a really nice knack for finding holes. So,
Kyle Pennell, go ahead.
Coach, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but with just 2 games left, what have you learned about maybe yourself as a coach and about your team during your first year in Columbia that you can take with you over the offseason and bring into the future?
You know, I think that's probably a better question at the end of the season. I still got 20% of the season left to go. And, you know, there's that's a big part. If you quit your class with 20% left to go, you know, I don't know if you're going to have the best grade. So I haven't done a whole lot of reflecting. I know I'm proud of this football team for the fight and endurance they've shown throughout and what they're going to continue to show. But we'll learn a lot more in these last 2 weeks. The way you finish is going to be, you know, how you're defined. And we hit a bump in the road Saturday, and we got to bounce back. We got to finish. We got to finish, and that's the message to the team this week.
Ben Arnett.
Coach, what's it been like this year to push through everything? And as you mentioned, you know, you kind of have to keep going back to the group every single week and ask for more and more as the injuries mount and all that kind of stuff. What's that been like for you as a coach?
I mean, it's the job. It's the job. I mean, if we're playing a 12-game SEC schedule and you got to find a way to finish, I mean, you got to go in there and fight for guys to finish and build the bond and the brotherhood. It just happens that this December 19th instead of November 16th. You know, I mean, it's a grind every year. So, I mean, you know, I hate to use the term, but it is what it is. And this is what we all signed up for. I remind people all the time, you know, I'm living the dream. You got to remind yourself that this is all part of the dream. The dream is just not winning on Saturdays. Like, living the dream means you're going through the crud that you got to go through. That's part of the dream. And you got to remind yourself, like, you know, hey, when you don't go to bed till midnight and you have to wake up at 5, like, that's part of the dream. You got to remember that's part of I'm living the dream. Not everything's roses and not everything's, you know, singing. It's crud. There's some crud you got to go through too. And you know, we're just happen to be right there. We're going through it and keep on fighting, keep on rocking and rolling. There's some good coming.
Suichi Terada from the Star, go ahead.
Hey, Eli, you mentioned just taking everything one by one. I guess how does game prep or anything change just with signing day tomorrow in terms of just practices or just having so much on your plate this week?
Nope. Can't change practice. Number one goal at Mizzou is to win on Saturday. We're trying to be 1-0 this week. And, you know, so we got to put everything compartmentalized, you know, as our team. They're focused on this team and what we're doing right now, which is trying to win Saturday and get to a 6-4 record. which I think would be unbelievable for this senior class, for this football team, for 2020 football team at Mizzou to say that they went into an all SEC schedule. To be 6-4, to have that would be something I think they could hang their hat on for a long, long time. So that's the main goal. And then after that, signing day. But as coaches, that's what we have to compartmentalize. We're doing a nice job as a coaching staff. We had a Zoom call Sunday night, last night. We'll have a FaceTime party tonight with guys, and we'll make sure we get those guys to the finish line, and we'll be excited for them. We can't cheat the 2021 class out of their signing day, and they've been cheated out of a lot of other stuff already because of this pandemic. So we will certainly have a lot of energy and excitement for them. But we can't lose sight of the number one goal, which is to win Saturday.
Dave Matter.
This is the time of year when other people are filling staffs. Do you have any kind of policy on if an assistant coach should get a call for another job outside of what's in their contract that says they have to do?
For me, that's why core value number 4 is so important to me. Enjoy the journey. Everybody's got a different journey, right? My journey is different than the staff. It's different than the players. While we're here and while we're all together, we want to make sure that we're all pushing in the same direction and focused on that. But much like players have individual goals and coaches have individual goals on what's best for their families and their futures and their careers, then hey, if that's what you want to explore, then you have all the rights to do that. Just keep me in the loop. Nowadays, there's agents and all that different stuff involved, but I don't get caught up in it. I know where I want to be. I know the journey that I'm on. I know the journey that this university's on and this program's pushing towards. It's the same thing with our players. This is who I am. This is who we are going to be moving forward. If it's not the right fit for you, man, that's okay. I'm not the right fit for everybody. And sometimes it's not about fit. Sometimes, hey, my path's going to go this way. I had to make those decisions as an assistant. And that's perfectly fine. I have asked that everybody stays committed through Saturday. But you always finish what you start. You always finish what you start. And then after that, we'll see how everything goes. And we'll go from there. I'm confident in who we are and the vision we have for this program. I'm confident in our locker room. I'm confident in our players and our staff. And I'm really excited to finish out this thing.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to Bill Pollock.
Yeah, Eli, a couple of weeks ago, Connor had mentioned the quarterback commandments, and he had mentioned one of them. We don't need a celebrity. We need a field general. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that. How many are there? Are there 10 quarterback commandments, or how many are there? Maybe just talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, there's 10 quarterback commandments, and they're in our quarterback room, and it's just I really stole them from Bill Parcells. His quarterback commandments, and they're just a list of reminders about what we need in this position. And I think Connor has really exemplified a lot of them. Ultimately we get a lot of conversations about stats, but that's, for us, that's not how we measure our quarterback success. We measure it on scoring drives. How many scoring drives did you lead your football team on? If you hand the football off to if you throw it down to the 1-inch line and then turn around and hand the ball off to Larry Roundtree or Tyler Beatty, which occurred a couple of times a couple of weeks ago, man, that's just as good. You may not get the credit, but man, you're doing what your job is. And he's done a really nice job of that. We talk about clowns can't run a huddle. We talk about don't need a celebrity quarterback. We need a battlefield commander. We talk about ignore other people's opinions. Nobody knows what's going on in here besides us. And we're responsible for telling each other the truth, and outside influences don't really affect that. And so they're just good reminders, specifically when you're going through ups and downs throughout the season.
All right, we'll go Gabe and then Peter to close. Gabe.
Yeah, just as far as the 3 or 4 hours on the field on game day, Eli, how different is a road game this year than maybe in the past? And will you miss the cowbells at all this weekend?
We're not going to, they're going to be there, right?
Not as many, though.
I mean, I can't control what their turnout's going to be. 1 cowbell and 2 cowbells is a lot of cowbells. So I probably won't be saying need more cowbell like Will Ferrell, but I mean, going on the road's always a difficult challenge, especially with COVID and all the different precautions and different things that we have to do to take into effect. You know, football's about getting into a routine and trying to have a business mindset when you go on the road, and it's a lot tougher because of all the different things that you have to do with travel. So, I mean, it's hard to win in the SEC. It's really hard to win on the road.
All right, last one from Peter. Go ahead.
Yeah, Eli, I know we were told that Sean Robinson was available Saturday, but I didn't see him on the sideline and was just kind of wondering what the status of the backup quarterback situation is.
You must not have been looking because he played in the game.
Did he?
Yeah, Peter, he played. Started on kickoff, was on punt return, was responsible for us getting that block on punt return. He's number 12, and I couldn't be any more proud of that young man. I'll be shocked if he doesn't play quite a bit this week. So he's doing everything. Again, we only got a certain amount of scholarships, and that sucker's giving us everything he's got. And perfect. I mean, ideal teammate. Just his parents have done an unbelievable job raising that young man, and the character and the fight toughness that he's shown in the face of adversity, in the face of a lot of different things. Tremendous. So, yeah, I'm disappointed you didn't recognize that he played, because he was a significant contributor to our success in the first half.